Welcome back, keepers. This is Keeping It Real with Jack and
Row.
Row.
Row. Otherwise known as Jack Phillips and Gabrielle Dolan. I just feel like I'm going to say that.
You're so good at that.
I know, just little brand recognition.
Nothing wrong with that. We love a good brand.
So this was a topic
Good episode.
that you suggested a while ago. And it was the 3 most important relationships you should have. Choose, be in. We talked about whether this is for work or for life, and then we decided for life because work is part of life.
Work is part of your life. So this is for everything, yeah?
Yeah.
And 3 is obviously the top 3. I mean, you're going to have many different relationships. But if you get these 3 right, we reckon you'll soar.
Yeah, and that was the basis of if these 3 your 3 relationships are good, humming along, I reckon life would be pretty good for you.
I agree. But I love the fact that we were also going to talk about the fact that time doesn't stand still, and sometimes relationships shouldn't stand still either.
Exactly. So the 3 are that we want to talk about is your life partner.
Correct.
You choose. Or in fact, if you choose a life partner is probably a good thing. But your life partner, your friends, and then your leader. So the person you work for, the person who has a very strong influence on your day-to-day work and career.
Correct. And, of course, as I said before, this is a moment in time. So there are certain relationships that probably will be long-term, your life partner, ideally.
Life partner, by definition of it.
However, or definition of it. And there'll be plenty of people listening to this that are single that maybe want a life partner or don't want a life partner, and that's okay too. So for them, it's the 2 most important relationships they should choose, because if they're working, then they're going to be working for somebody, and there's a good chance they'll have friends, right? Yep. Okay, let's start with your life partner. You've got a life partner. His name is Steve.
Yes, I do have a life partner.
How long has that life partnership been?
We met when we were both 27, so quite late in I guess quite late, not necessarily, but I mean, when I say in that time, a lot of people were married by 27. Like most of my friends were in
relationships.
Maybe not, most of them, not all of them.
No. You were trying to get married for some time before you met Steve.
Well, I was,
I love bringing this up.
Yes, as we all know from previous episodes, I was engaged previously.
Once?
Only once.
Twice?
Well, twice now because I got married to Steve like 3 times a lady.
That was the Commodores.
Was it?
Yeah,
anyway, I did. So, yeah, I was engaged when I was 23, so it was quite young, and that we didn't end up getting married.
But your life partner, let's go back to that.
So but then and so probably between 23, 24, 25, 26, I'd had several boyfriends. Like, you're young. You're in your mid-20s, right?
No one's ugly after 2 a.m, Ralph. Of course you're in your mid-20s. You're living your best
having
life.
Fun. And I remember
good time.
And again, like I said, most people at 27, like my mum was married and, there was and this was going back nearly 30 years ago. So I remember I was going out with this guy, and I actually knew him from work.
Yep.
His name was Dave. Hi, Dave, if you're listening. And he was a lovely boy.
The one that got away.
He was a lovely boy. But, we went out for a couple of months, and it was one family function he'd come to. And then when Mum saw me the next time, she went, "How's Dave?" I go, "Oh, we're not going out anymore." And she went, "Oh, who ended it?"
It's just like see your mum say.
And I went, "Well, I did." And she went, "Why? He was a lovely man."
Nice boy.
And I go, "Well, he was nice, but I just wasn't in love." So I thought I'd entered. And my mum, God love her, she said, "What are you waiting for, angels to sing or bells to ring?" And I'm going, bells? Bells ringing would be
Angels to
nice.
sing and bells to ring.
Anyway,
I love it.
She did sort of, I think, Mum, I know you're listening, but I still remember Mum getting a little bit upset saying, "Well, clearly you've decided to not have children." And I think by this stage.
And you were how old?
By this stage
25.
I started to laugh. I was 27. I was like,
that's funny.
"Oh my God, I've still got." Anyway.
Yeah, you're not
Anyway, every time Mum tells me how lucky I am to have Steve, just reminding you, Mum, that if you're listening, I was waiting for bells to ring and angels to sing.
And they did.
And they did.
There you are.
They did.
So what is
very
it?
next person I went out with was Steve.
Well, there you are. What is it about choosing Steve? So why Steve for you? as a life partner? What is it about Steve?
Well, I think, and we'll probably get into this later about. Sorry, just thought of a funny thing. My funny answer. I'll do my funny answer first.
All right,
right?
your funny answer
is Steve's got a really small head. Like he's got
I was wondering where that was going.
He's got the
very
smallest
small
head. He finds he can't wear baseball caps or like he has to almost buy kids baseball caps. He's got a small head, and he's got blue eyes. And I always thought when I knew I always wanted to have children, it was like if I'm going to give birth to
I love it. Small head and blue eyes.
Someone with a small head and blue eyes.
That's too funny.
that's the funny answer.
How big were your children, actually, now that you say that, when they were born?
They've both got blue eyes and they've got
smaller sheds?
Smaller sheds. I don't know.
So why did you choose Steve? What is it about Steve?
You know what it is?
And would you choose Steve again?
Do they bring out the best in you? To me. So,
how do you find that out?
So I think I think if things like being supportive, things like being respectful, appreciating my independence. I think I've spoken about this in the past. When I met Steve, he worked in corporate, I worked in corporate. We were both on good money. I was earning more money and I'm sitting there going, not that should matter, but it does matter to some men.
Yep, absolutely.
And especially, going back 30 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
That didn't bother him at all. So there was all the good signs that this was right. I listened to a podcast, I think Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and she interviewed a woman, and a woman said one problem with women is they tend to fall in love with the potential of a man.
Yeah.
So it's like, we think, he could change or whatever.
I could change
they're
him.
Not I can change him. You're not going to change him.
And if they do change, it's probably not going to last long. Yeah. They're going to revert back to who they are. And if you have to change them, then are they the right one for you?
Exactly. And so that my advice is they should always be you should bring out the best in them and they should bring out the best in you.
I think that's such a right response. And the point of bringing out the best in each other is you're a team, right? And you go into this, whether you have children, animals, or neither of those things, but you've got to live with this person and you've got to spend a lot of time with this person, not unlike spending a lot of time at work. If you're not getting better or feeling good or bringing out the best in each other, then that's a lot of time to be unhappy. Exactly. So it really is important. With Richard, and it was very much he makes me better. He holds me accountable. He has high expectations. Not trying to change me, but sort of
because he's a teacher. Does he grade you? Does you get a little report every Friday?
A little performance review regularly. I get told off all the time. Jackie. No, and when I met him, he wasn't a teacher. We were both working in radio.
Right, yeah.
But I think the thing for me was he just so practical. It's like, well, whoever earns the most money will go and be the full-time worker and the other will stay around and look after the kids. And not unlike Steve, he was not a dick swinger at all.
Yeah.
I need a big fancy title or I need a lot of money to, put my identity to that. I like me. I'm pretty confident in who I am and what my values are. And I think that's the difference between finding somebody who is aligned to your values.
Yeah. And I think you said then it's a team. Like it's teamwork. It's teamwork. The two of you, if you sign up to the, to death do us part bit, in sickness, in health, and you're 20, you'll be together for the next 50, 60, 70 years, going through kids, going through not kids, kids
family
leaving, family crisis,
work crises,
stress, all that stuff. It needs to be a teamwork.
It does need to be teamwork. So choose your life partner carefully in that if you are career focused or if you have goals and ambitions, which most people do, and you want to achieve those or unlock your potential, then your life partner is going to play a big role in that. They're either going to stymie that or stop that or prevent it or reduce it, or they're going to support and enhance it.
Yeah.
I like the latter.
Yeah. And
I don't want to be held back.
It's someone that's going to support and get excited for your success.
Yeah.
Or someone
not jealous.
Not jealous. And sometimes you see that, even to see it in friends where there's just little digs about, you can do that.
Yeah.
Or who do you think who do you think you are doing that?
Yeah.
Or no, you'd never be able to achieve that. And be going, oh my God, I would do my head in.
Absolutely.
Being with someone who was
not on your team.
Pegging you down a bit all the time, because
that eats away at your self-confidence.
Absolutely. Those little digs over years.
Oh, absolutely. We became expats and lived in Singapore not long after we were married, and we had one child, Maddie. She would have been 3.5, and Louis was just a baby. And Richard was the full-time carer of both kids, and it was my job that took us up to Singapore. Back then, and we're talking back in early 2000, in fact it was the year 2000, there weren't many women going up as the expat worker and the partner being the trailing spouse. We were the opposite of that, yeah? So I was the expat worker, he was the trailing spouse. So we would go to different events and functions where all the expats go, the Aussies, and the men would sort of go off into one corner of the room, the women would go into another corner of the room, and the men would say to Richard, so what do you do, mate? You know, and they were investment wankers. They were, bankers. They were high-flying corporates. They were in PR. They were good guys. There was nothing wrong with them. They were good guys. But they expected he would be the same. He would be up there and he'd say, nothing. I do nothing. And straight away they'd look at him and you could see them thinking, oh, loser. When in actual fact he was working harder than all of them. He was home full time with our kids, yeah, and they were babies. They were young. Yes, we had help in the house.
I just would that shows confidence.
Doesn't that show confidence?
That it was like,
but you know the irony of that. So these guys were high flying people earning huge amounts of money. They were consumed by their work because there's a price to pay for that. Yep. They were away a lot and on weekends. Richard was the one constant. And a lot of their kids, particularly their sons, would gravitate toward Richard because that sort of father figure wasn't around. So it was really interesting. It took a lot of confidence. You're exactly right. But I was really proud of him. And I used to say to him, you might want to change your response. It's not nothing. And he'd say, fuck them. Good on him.
Yeah.
If you're judging me on what I do and how big my wallet is, then actually you're not my mate anyway.
He wasn't trying to impress them. So life partner.
Choose them wisely.
Choose them wisely. Wait for bells to ring and angels to sing.
Well, I think the point here is align early on what your goals are and understand whether you're going to be a team or whether there's some really specific things that your life partner expects.
Yeah.
And if that's not something you want, then be very, very careful. Yep. This idea you might change them or can change them may be wrong.
Yeah. Friends.
Oh, so important. Now, friends evolve, yeah?
Yeah,
friends
absolutely.
Evolve. We've got both you and I were talking about very long-term friends who we will have right to the day we die, who we adore, who've gone with us right through, who've evolved and adapted and who they are, and we love them for it. But I've just recently, in the last 4 years, moved to the country. I've made a whole group of new friends who I think will also be with me right to the end. They're awesome. But these are very latent stage life friends.
Yeah.
Don't stop making friends.
No, I think unlike your life partner,
change them up.
With friends, you can have new friends.
Absolutely.
You can that's like you would hate to just have one friend for a start.
Nice to have a few friends.
Yeah, a few friends.
What about your friend that you were telling me about who does a bit of an audit every
I spoke about this before, and where she rates her friends.
Rates them. They've got to be delivering.
And the point is too is like they might be really good friends, and then for whatever reason you move away in different countries. Or, sometimes you could have kids and your friend doesn't have kids or vice versa. So things change. Yeah. Your lifestyle has changed. But, it's going, okay, well, they're a friend. They're just not my A friend.
A-grade friend.
A-grade friend and stuff like that. But
well, it is interesting you say that. I think what happens is that there's a time and place, right?
Yeah.
So I know that I've got friends in New Zealand who I don't see. I might see the odd Facebook update or Instagram update or whatever. Yet when I go back to New Zealand, it's like nothing's changed. Yeah. So time just goes on, but you pick up where you were because that's a lifelong friendship.
Yeah.
But then there are new friends.
Yeah.
But we need different people at different stages of our lives too. Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
Because we're changing and evolving all of the time.
Yeah. So, what I was going to say, it was like, you can choose your friends wisely too, and it'd be similar, just like your life partner. You should bring out the best version in them. They should bring out the best version of you. And again, if you've got a friend who's always whinging and whining or having a go at everything you do, it's just like you don't want friends like that.
I don't want to be around negativity.
No.
I don't want to be around people that gossip. I mean, there's so many great things to discuss, so many great things to talk about, so many great things to learn from each other. Gossip doesn't get anyone anywhere.
And you'll have friends for different reasons. Like I know my friend Gail, if she wants a shoulder to cry on, she doesn't call me. Because
I like the fact that she knows her.
Because if she comes to me, I might go, oh, that's
rough.
sad. But then I'll be going, what do you do? What do you want?
what are we doing about it?
I can't help it. I go straight into action mode. So she knows if she wants a plan, she'll come to me. We also joke about you got to make younger friends, because if you only have old friends, no one will come to your funeral. So you got to start making younger friends.
Well, like I think I spoke about this in the last episode. I was hanging around with a 90-year-old. I've never felt more, youthful and exuberant before. So again, time and place, right? So I've got younger friends, and they teach me different things, and they keep me, relevant about what's going on with technology and also their points of view on politics and a whole lot of other sort of macro environmental things, which I love learning. But then when I get with people either who are peers of ours or older, I get different perspectives again.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to be open to all perspectives.
Yep.
But also, I think how I choose friends is it's probably two key things.
Let me guess. I'm going to guess. I reckon having fun, laughing. Is that one of them?
Spot on. Second?
No bullshit.
That's absolutely right. Okay, third. There is
they
a third.
drink alcohol.
Oh, they just go. No, they don't have to drink.
Right. Oh,
I'll drink for them. They don't have to drink.
Right.
No, definitely humour. Definitely no bullshit. They're real. They know who they are. They're not trying to be something they're not. They're smart, and they don't have to be book smart. I'm not talking about academic smart.
Street smart.
I'm talking about with points of view, with experience, and an ability to listen and learn and share their experience. I love that. I love dinner parties. I love getting people together and saying, what's going on in your world, and just talking about pop culture, current affairs, politics, what they're reading. I've got a friend, and he does philosophy, goes into Melbourne, and he attends a philosophy lecture once every couple of weeks. And I say, what did you learn? Tell me what the latest word is. And he's awesome.
Yeah.
And he's an older friend.
So we partner, we're choosing wisely. Friends, we're choosing wisely. Because
staying open to meeting new friends.
The saying that you are, that you become the sum of the five people
friends
you spend the most time with.
Spot on. So, there's been studies around this,
Yeah.
So if you are hanging around with people who are addicts, there's a good chance you'll become one. If you're hanging around people who are entrepreneurs, there's a good chance you'll become one. So, it seems pretty simple and basic, but I think it's a thing.
Yep.
It's researched.
Yep. Okay, great. So we've done partners, we've got friends, and the other one we talk about is the person you are working for, or the leader. So, you're
important.
Working in an organisation or a company or whatever, the leader can significantly impact the quality of your life.
Totally. Also, they can hold you back, or they can propel you forward.
Yeah.
So if you are in a role right now and you are reporting to somebody who doesn't inspire you, who doesn't teach you, who doesn't support you,
who doesn't have your best interests at heart,
doesn't have your back, then you can change that story.
I know a lot of people that would say their leader is good, but they don't put them forward for promotions or help them because they're so good they want to keep them. Now, to me, that's not a great leader.
Well, that's about their personal agenda.
Yeah.
Not about what's right for that piece of talent.
Because a lot of it, the saying is you don't leave organisations, you leave a leader. But a leader could make your life miserable.
Absolutely. Or it could set
really
you on
enhance
fire.
it. So,
totally right.
Again, when you look at your leader, sort of just like we discussed with partner or friends, are they bringing out the best of you?
Yeah.
And are you bringing out the best of them? So as in, look, are you making their work better and
vice
better
versa.
and vice versa?
Agree. I am coaching a person at the moment, a younger person, and she said to me, I have such high expectations of my leader, Jack. Is that wrong? I said, absolutely not.
No.
I said, but let's be realistic here. Give me some examples of your expectations.
Yeah.
And it is to teach me more, to support me, to brainstorm with me, to challenge me. And that person is doing none of those things. In fact, they are an older person who I think, from what she has said to me, feels a bit threatened by this person because they're quite young and they're quite successful.
Yep.
She's already got one foot out the door. That talent is going to leave, and I don't blame the talent, and I blame the leader in that respect. I remember somebody asking me, what's the best skill I can learn as a leader, and I said hire well, which means hire smarter people than you.
Yep.
But bring them in and then coach them, mentor them, support them, challenge them, stretch them, and keep an eye out for them. Where can they go next?
Yeah. So I think you just got to be mindful of all of that. If your leader is not helping you develop,
No. Somebody said to me,
move on.
what if I'm working for a leader that's a bit nyeh, but they're easy and they don't challenge me too hard and I'm earning good money and I'm pretty happy where I am? Do I stay? Great question. Mm-hmm. And I say, well, have you got plan B under wraps?
Yeah.
Do you know where you're going? Have you a pathway? Is sitting still for the next 12 months an okay thing to do because you know what you're going to next and you know that getting experience in this particular role, obviously recognising the leader's not going to give you what you need when it comes to challenge or learning. If that's all okay, then sure.
Yeah, because it could just be at the moment.
It could be the moment. You could leverage
status
that.
quo is okay if you sort of go. And
If you've got a plan
it
and
could
a
be something
pathway.
happening in your private, like you might have just had kids, or you've got kids going through, or you're caring for
just wanna take
parents. You're caring
make it
for
easy a
parents,
bit.
and you just go, you know what? The next 12 months for work, I just want to be easy.
Side hustle happening, so I just need
Yeah.
work. Your 9 to 5,
Absolutely.
just to I need to be doing what I need to do, but my mind's going to be
Yep.
required in other areas after hours. So therefore, I don't want to have to be too taxed at work.
Yep.
This isn't where my passion is, and that's okay.
Yep.
So again, choose your leader depending on the time and the place, but recognise if your leader is not serving you well, and then start to think about what can I do about that.
Yeah. So I think on that, so in this podcast, listeners, it really is about, well, we think these are the 3 most important relationships in your life. So your life partner, your friends, your leader. Do a little bit of an audit, I guess, and you're happy with it, is working backwards. So, how do you choose? And you be mindful of that. You don't think you can go in and change anyone because you can't.
You can only control one thing.
You can only,
your response to other people's
and if you
behaviour.
sense it's not right, with a leader, leaders are when I say easy to change, it's like you can change.
Well, you can leave.
You can leave, right?
Correct.
Or you can
Or they leave.
move or they leave. Friends, I think it's just a case of going, this person is being a bit negative or whatever, and you just you don't have to leave, you don't have to quit, you just spend less time with them.
That's
just, do that. So and I think it's having a
Self-select.
variety of friends.
Hey, you mentioned a story before which you haven't told, and I think it's worthy of telling because some of our keepers might relate to it. You got promoted into a role and got quite excited, but there was not a leader that you were going to be reporting to at the time because they hadn't hired for that particular lead. It was a restructure,
Yeah,
right?
it was a big, massive restructure.
What
so
happened?
all jobs were spilled. So it wasn't like a linear employ the leader and then they employ the team. So I got a job, and it was actually quite a good job. It was quite a senior.
In banking?
Yeah, it was still at National Australia Bank. And then about a week or 2 later, they appointed
the leader.
the person I was going to be reporting into, and it was just someone I did not want to work with and didn't respect as a leader.
Yep.
And then I just went back and said,
Won't be taking the role.
Won't be taking the role.
So
They said why, and I said this is why, and they were pissed off, and I went, I'm not doing it.
No.
So,
But that's good feedback. Them being HR or the senior most person who was putting this restructure in place, they need to know why.
it
you
was
don't
a
want to
stupid process.
Right.
Why would you not? You should get the leader, and the leader should then be choosing the team. But
Yeah,
sure.
Anyway, so the importance of having the right leader and then choosing that, and you do have a choice is
you
what
do
you're
have
saying.
a choice.
Yep.
You have a
Agreed,
choice
agreed.
with all of those.
Hey, we've just spoken about leaders, we've just spoken about friends, and we've spoken about life partners. There is one other relationship that you should probably also think about, and that is a mentor or a
Oh,
coach.
definitely.
Now,
Definitely.
people get through life without mentors and coaches, though most people have some form of mentorship without even calling it a mentor or without even realising it in many cases. They look up to somebody. But a coach particularly and somebody who can absolutely be unemotional and objective and help guide others. It's an investment.
Clearly, you're the best in the business, but also too, like you don't have to you don't have to have a coach forever.
No, no.
It
Coaching
could be,
interventions.
it could be
specific
and I
scenarios
guess maybe
times.
even therapists would enter into that. So helping it just might be for a certain amount of time.
That's true.
Or it might not. Okay, well. Hopefully that's been a valuable of value.
Indeed.
Valuable of value.
It is. It is valuable. I mean, it's good talking about it. So choose your partner wisely, choose your friends very wisely, and definitely you have a choice when it comes to who you report to, your leader. So hopefully you are thinking about those 3 components. You are thinking whether you need to do a little audit, make some changes, do an assessment, evaluate, and don't forget, give us a 5-star rating and send in any feedback or thoughts or topics or anything. We love hearing from our keepers.
Yep, and share it with your friends. Bye for now.
You've been listening to another episode of Keeping It Real with Jack and Rahl. If you like what you've heard, don't forget to tell others about it and give a 5-star review. They may seem confident, but they really are sensitive 5-star needy souls. Yeah, right. Keeping It Real, created by Jack Phillips and Gabriel Dolan. Produced by Keehlan Ferrari-Brown. And this really real voiceover, spoken by Richard Phillips.